What's going on, everybody? James Jackson here. I'm back again with another video. Today I am going to quickly do a video and just go over some of my predictions with Blackmagic Design, with all the recent updates, and of course I gave my review of the Pixel 12K. Right now we're looking at, because we're coming up on NAB, so what should we expect from Blackmagic coming out today? Or at least this year, I should say. Blackmagic coming out this year. This is sort of a little bit of a raw uncut. I'm just going to sort of cut through, not a lot of editing. So let's quickly recap as sort of where we are right now in the state with Blackmagic Design. Right now, Blackmagic has released quite a few cameras over the past 2 years. They've had the Ursa Cine 12K, the Ursa Cine 17K, the Pixel 6K, and the Pixel 12K as the main cameras that come out. All of them highly popular and are growing both with independent filmmaking as well as going up in Hollywood. Hollywood is actually using a lot more Blackmagic cameras, so there definitely has been an increase in that. Also, we got to talk about how Blackmagic has finally put in phase detection continuous autofocus into their cameras. They started off with the Cinema Camera 6K. It's still in beta. And also, Blackmagic has now incorporated ProRes RAW both in their cameras in the Pocket 4K, as well as allowing ProRes RAW in DaVinci Resolve. So in terms of cameras, that sort of is the major things, which is quite a lot when you think about it. So with something like the Pixel 12K, the Ursa Cine 12K, and the Ursa Cine 17K, where exactly does Blackmagic go here with cameras? In this case, I'm going to just say my first prediction is I don't think we're going to see a new camera from Blackmagic this year. Now, look, I could be completely wrong, and they may put something like a pro version of the Pixis. I think that's the one that everybody's sort of hoping. I just don't anticipate it. Just the way Blackmagic moves, they would have to completely build a whole new body design, which, look, granted, they could do that, but I have this feeling that they're going to sit put with the design of the Pixis body as is now and sort of maybe figure out different ways to sort of incorporate it. We'll see where else. The only possibility that I can see is maybe there's a 17K version of a Pixis. But even that, I am skeptical because I don't even know if the body design of the body would fit the size of a 17K sensor. So in terms of cameras, I don't expect any new cameras, but there is some features that I think are going to come regarding their cameras. The first one I believe that is coming from Blackmagic Design, I think this is a given at this point, and I think most people would agree. Blackmagic is going to incorporate continuous phase detection autofocus into their other line of cameras. I think it's mainly going to be in the current gen one. So I think it is coming to the Pixis 12K, the Pixis 6K, and possibly the Ursa Cine 12K and the Ursa Cine 17K, but those are probably only going to be in the forms of EF mount versions. Because I've been hearing rumors that there's been a mixed bids. I know just from my own conversation of the interview that I had with Rob of Blackmagic that the key thing that I look at is the fact that he specifically talked about cameras that they know have the hardware inside of them that can enable phase detection autofocus.
Still in beta. We're still working on some things with it. It's good because we've been getting good feedback through the beta process. And yeah, I'm sure we'll see some updates to that going forward. And again, the idea of being able to roll it out to some of the other cameras that can accept it because the hardware is in it. And that's part of it.
We don't know which ones those are, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it's at the very least in the cameras that have the L mount. So the Pixel 6K and the Pixel 12K, at least those will definitely get the phase detection autofocus, because that goes back to something that Grant Petty said when they announced phase detection and how the importance of L mount it was to putting the autofocus on there. And it's because of that that statement by Grant Petty and also what Rob said is like the cameras that have hardware. I assume that that the Ursa Cine 12K may have it, But again, it's not necessarily a guarantee. We shall see. But I do believe at the very least we'll see at least one additional camera. The most obvious one is going to be the Pixis 6K, but I also believe the Pixis 12K. Maybe it's just me being hopeful, but I do believe the Pixis 12K is going to get the autofocus update. And I think that's going to be probably the big announcement, that they're going to expand and fully release the continuous autofocus to at least those two cameras. The second prediction that I believe is going to happen is I don't think this is a complete shot, because Blackmagic kind of already said they were working on getting this into these products, but I believe we will see ProRes RAW on the video assist, come to the video assist. That's the next prediction that I have. But again, Blackmagic kind of already confirmed it in my interview with Rob back at NAB New York. He basically said they are working to get ProRes RAW into the video assist. I believe isn't the video assist monitors supposed to?
They're also going to be able to record ProRes RAW with the cameras that already support recording Blackmagic RAW.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I also am predicting that we are going to see a new video assist. Now, granted, I've been predicting for like 3 years that we're going to see a new video assist, because it's been long overdue, and there needs to be an upgrade. And the fact that they've went from CFast and SD cards on their cameras to now CF Express, it just only makes sense that you'll see an updated version where it will take CF Express Type B cards. So my prediction is we'll see ProRes RAW come to the video assist, and we'll see a new video assist. The prediction that I'm not very confident of, but kind of confident, is that we will see ProRes RAW come to additional cameras. I personally believe we'll see it in the previous gen of pocket cameras. So 6K, 6K Pro, 6K G2. I think it's going to come to those, and even like the previous generation of Ursas, the Ursa Mini Pro, Ursa Mini Pro G2. Now, the third and final prediction that I'm going to have, I'm not as confident in this. And again, and by the way, all these predictions, I don't know anything. I'm not been told anything by Blackmagic. These are just my predictions, just given what we already know with Blackmagic and what they're working. So I don't want to think like Blackmagic's telling me. They're not. No one's telling me anything. These are just my predictions. This one I'm not as confident, but I do believe that this is coming as well. And that is the fact that Blackmagic is going to enable monitoring and control through their Blackmagic camera app for their Blackmagic cameras. It's been a long requested feature, and I think this is something that I believe, especially with the new forms of iPhones, I think this is, especially if they enable continuous autofocus on these cameras, it only makes sense that they then allow control over their cameras through their Blackmagic camera app. I think that is the next big thing. Again, I'm not as confident, but I think that is something that I believe will happen. And then some minor little predictions that I think will potentially happen that at least I'm hoping for. And then there's a wild card one that I'm really hoping for, but I have no evidence to back it up. So the first offbeat prediction that I'm kind of hoping, but probably not going to happen, is the fact that Blackmagic is going to open up more recording options on the Pixis 12K and the Ursa Cine 12K. Right now, I think the main thing for me is just like, I would love to see more resolution and aspect ratio options in the Super 35 mode, because right now it's just 9K and then all those aspect ratios. I would love to see a 4:3 option, both in Super 35 and also in full frame. But I'm more importantly seeing if they can probably get the sensor scaling to work even in the Super 35 mode, where you can get, maybe you have a 9K, but then you get something like a 3K or a 2K option as well. And then that could potentially give you more frame rate options as well. Again, there's no anything to indicate that that's going to be the case. But that's, to me, my hopeful thinking, I guess you could say, for that. And then the last one, which is like my complete left field one, that this is just me, like, I really hope Blackmagic does this, but there's no indication that they will do this. But I would love to, I'm just going to put it out in the universe. And that is Blackmagic is going to announce their own set of lenses. Look, they're in the L-mount ecosystem. They're finally adding face detection autofocus. It seems to only make sense that they could maybe come up with their own lenses that can work with their autofocus system. So, and given the fact that the L-mount is probably the weakest in terms of stabilized lenses, which would be the most beneficial to Blackmagic out of all the different camera manufacturers in the L-mount alliance, it just, to me, it would make sense. It's like, look, if nobody else is going to develop these lenses that would benefit our cameras, let's build them ourselves. So again, that's like way left field. I have nothing to suggest that that is actually going to happen. But this is, I guess you could say, is sort of my hopeful thinking. But I really hope Blackmagic sort of enters into the L-mount game and sort of announces they're already part of the L-mount alliance. Might as well take advantage of all that technology and build their own lenses. Just me, but we shall see. Anyways, guys, these are my predictions for Blackmagic for both NAB as well as 2026 for the rest of 2026. I would love to know how likely you think my predictions are. Let me know. Leave your comments down below. And as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, take care, everyone.